Know each other really well. Um, Wanted to offer a recap of the day's developments. Good news is our levee is holding, integrity is sound, and conditions are not worsening. In some cases, they're getting better. We're seeing a plateauing of water levels, especially west of us on the Elkhorn River, which is very good news. We're also seeing a leveling of water levels on the North Fork. They're not climbing, they are steady and stable, which is also good news. City efforts today continue to focus on monitoring our levee integrity. We also started to pump some water out of the North Fork River into the levee in order to preserve some residential areas that were starting to be encroached, starting to be affected. We focused much effort on shelter resources for those who were evacuated earlier today. Currently, we have more than 1,000 people displaced from their homes. They are staying in primarily 5 different shelter locations: Lutheran High Northeast, Norfolk Catholic High School, Bel Air Elementary School, Northern Heights Baptist Church, and First Christian Church. Recently had a conference call with each of the points of contact at those shelter locations, doing an inventory of resources available. The biggest need that we have right now are air mattresses for people. We will have to have people spend the night at these locations tonight. We've used up all the cots that we could wrangle up in the community. We have various corporate donations coming in for air mattresses, but we are asking for citizens if they would be so kind to donate air mattresses, and they can be delivered to the Ponca Tribe of Nebraska headquarters, which is 1800 Syracuse Avenue. I do want to wrap up by thanking first our city staff and first responders, our police and fire divisions, who have been working tirelessly to make sure that everyone was kept safe in this very serious event. We did engage with the Nebraska National Guard today, had some of our local guards people helping with the effort, so we thank them. I also want to thank members of the community who really stepped up. We talked this morning about this being an effort that would require neighbors helping neighbors, and we had several people throughout the community step up in terms of monetary donations to purchase food items, medicine, bedding materials, all of those things. So thank you to everyone who was kind enough to get involved in that manner. And at this point, Shane, unless there's anything you want to add as far as detail, we can take questions.
I would add that when it rains, it pours. Normal emergencies continue on. We're working a house fire right now, so we got fire and police resources at that scene, working that as we speak. Don't think there's any major injuries other than smoke inhalation at this point. So those kind of things continue to happen in our community, and when they happen, those resources get stretched even thinner. So again, a shout out to the community for taking the lead and taking care of each other, as the mayor indicated. Major difference for the emergency personnel in the normal response. The normal responses are down, but obviously emergencies still happen. So we really appreciate that. Mayor's summary was right on target, right on point. That's the status. We're hoping and praying for good news in the morning. We'll see. We definitely will have those shelters open tonight, and we are planning to have them open tomorrow night, but we'll wait and see what the water does tomorrow morning and throughout the day, and make a concerted effort to get the evacuation lifted as soon as possible.
Again, not out of the woods yet, but conditions are not worsening and are in fact getting better in some cases. I do need to note an update that we just learned of from the Nebraska Public Power District, who has made an announcement that starting at 5:30 p.m. tonight for up to 2 hours, there will be a planned power outage affecting Norfolkans south of Prospect. So everyone in Norfolk living south of Prospect can expect a power outage starting at 5:30 to last no longer than 2 hours. And that is for purposes of MPPD serving the substation that's been affected by flooding. Any questions?
Will that power outage affect any of the shelters that you have?
Shane?
Yes, it will, in fact. Our Catholic school will be affected by that. It's south of Prospect Avenue. Lutheran High Northeast was our initial and primary shelter. It will not be affected. Bel Air School is north of Prospect, so it should not be affected. So 1 out of the 5 that the mayor mentioned will be affected, which is a major effect for them, but hopefully that will turn around quickly, and NPPD is going to work fiercely to get that done.
Will they stay in the shelter during that time?
Yes.
What's the latest on the missing person from earlier today?
We have no update. Still missing. So we don't have any update, no identity at this point, and still missing.
Is there any update with the Veterans Home and college?
Veterans Home is staying in place, and we're going to keep shelter our veterans in place, and so that has not changed. We do have a plan established, as we mentioned earlier, to rapidly evacuate them if something changes on the levee, but as the mayor mentioned, our levee conditions are stable, which is a godsend. The college is continuing to implement their emergency operations plan, and the students are still at First Christian Church and doing well by the last report we got from Dr. Chips and his staff. So everything's decent in that arena.
Can you talk about the damage in some of these mandatory evacuation areas? What kind of water and flooding are we seeing?
You know, we're looking pretty good, to be honest with you, inside the city limits. We do have, as the mayor mentioned, we do have some flooding, low-level flooding from inside the city limits from the North Fork. It's kind of odd to think about, but the North Fork is actually being diverted through our levee, but there is a North Fork that still exists inside the city limits. There is some light lowland flooding there, but the evacuated area for the most part is looking pretty good. Fortunately. So, you know, I know there's a lot of concern of our homeowners and business owners in that evacuated area about that very thing. But as long as the levee holds and stays placed, we shouldn't have any major damage. We do obviously have some water getting in some basements and reports of that throughout the community and including in the evacuated area. But major damage to streets and roads and byways and within the city limits is pretty negligible at this point, according to our assessments. Now, time will tell. Water is a great equalizer and does a lot of damage, so we will see after we get a good visualization after the waters recede. We do have damage, we believe, on some roadways outside of the city limits. We got major water flowing, obviously, so we don't know what that exactly will mean for us. But the Department of Roads are monitoring that closely, and they'll keep us updated on that.
Any concern as to when the levee concerns will be over? Now that the weather's improving, do you feel like the worst is over, or are you guys still concerned about any future flooding issues?
As was said, the levee is stable. Our water levels are stable but high. So that will continue. It'll continue throughout the night. We are hopeful that we're going to see some dropping of water levels by the morning, but I am not promising the community that at this point. So we're going to see significant levee rates and water flow rates throughout the night and into tomorrow. Everything is flattened out on the forecast for weather conditions and for the water flows that we're seeing upstream. That's a good sign. We're even seeing some demarcation of lowering, but just slightly at this point. So that can vary just according to inflows. This is a dynamic situation. There's a lot of things upstream that can affect this. So we're cautiously optimistic, but we're, again, cautiously optimistic that we're going to see improvement in the morning. So we'll wait and see.
Again, I would recap that we are very happy to say that the levee has done its job, and it's held up very well. Again, we're not out of the woods yet, but with morning we'll know a lot more. The pattern right now is trending in the right direction, and so we hope that continues.
Any other additional information you can give us?
I think we covered it.
Shane, could you talk a little bit about the Elkhorn River? I've heard a lot about the levee, but how about the Elkhorn River situation with water coming from Battle Creek?
As the mayor mentioned, that's stable as well. We are seeing, getting reports from our western boundaries, but I'm going far west out to Atkinson area, Ewing area, those stations out there that measure the water in the Elkhorn River have seen a reduction. So that's good news for us. Obviously, we got a lot of distance between there and here, so a lot of flow has to come down the Elkhorn yet. It's stable. As the mayor said, it's stable, Jeffrey and team here. So we're hoping that that will continue to reduce and progress this way. Once that happens and we get a decent reduction in the Elkhorn River, we're going to relieve the back pressure that's putting back pressure on our North Fork, which hopefully should relieve some of that, lower some of the water in our levee too. That's our hope. So all those factors have got to come together. Right now, it's dangerous. The Elkhorn River is high, about as high as we've seen it, near record levels, near 2010 levels again. But again, our reports from our western partners are pointed in the right direction.
How about ice? Any problems with ice?
We got good flow. The ice is really, compared to yesterday, our ice flow is diminished significantly. So that's wonderful news.
And we will continue to keep you updated on any new developments, should they be overnight or right away in the morning. So
at this point, this is the last update until tomorrow morning or possibly overnight?
we would foresee that unless there's some significant event that we do not foresee at this point.
So
The next update would be in the morning. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.